Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am so pumped to dive into this one with you today. We are going to completely unpack something truly fascinating. We're going to demystify how humanity's very first attempts to solve the incredibly chaotic math of the cosmos didn't just help us figure out what day it was, it literally birthed the astrological zodiac that we still reference today. It's this wild story of ancient problem solving, stargazing, and honestly, some absolutely brilliant mathematical ingenuity. So, let me just ask you right off the bat, do you actually know your true zodiac sign? Like, are you a fiery Aries, a stubborn Taurus, or maybe a super balanced Libra? I mean, most of us know the sign we were born under, right? And maybe you even check your horoscope from time to time. We all kind of feel a personal stake in the stars. Well, here is a pretty massive twist for you. Ancient timekeepers? They might actually completely disagree with you. Seriously? If the ancient astronomers who literally invented these star signs were to look up at today's night sky, they'd probably categorize your sign completely differently. No way, right? But to understand why your horoscope might be fundamentally misaligned with the stars sitting right above us, we have to travel back thousands of years. To do that, here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the cosmic math problem. Second, fixing the lunar drift. Third, inventing the zodiac. Fourth, Egyptian star clocks. And finally, number 5, the shifting stars. All right, let's jump straight into part 1, the cosmic math problem. So early humanity was faced with this huge puzzle that they desperately had to solve just to survive. And timekeeping, at its absolute core, was an astronomy problem. You see, before humans fully grasped the precise length of a solar year, they kept time by simply looking up at the moon. A single lunar cycle takes roughly 29.5 days. Multiply that by 12 cycles, and boom, you get a pure lunar year of exactly 354 days. For so many ancient civilizations, this was their very first clock. But here's where the problem kicks in. A true solar year, the one based on the Earth actually revolving around the sun, is roughly 365.24 days. That means a strict lunar calendar is a full 11 days shorter than the solar year. Honestly, this is a massive cosmic glitch. Think about it. If you rely purely on the moon, your calendar falls behind the actual seasons by a little over a day every single year. Within just a few decades, your crucial spring planting season would violently drift straight into the dead of winter. It would literally throw agricultural survival into absolute chaos. Moving right along to section 2, fixing the lunar drift. So these ancient chronometric problem solvers had to figure out some incredible mathematical workarounds to patch this messy celestial mismatch. And their grand solution was a really vital concept called intercalation. Now, I know that sounds like a super dense academic term, but it's basically just the periodic addition of leap days or sometimes an entire 13th intercalary month to force a lunar calendar back into alignment with the solar seasons. Just picture these ancient timekeepers as mechanics, manually jamming extra gears into an imperfect cosmic clock just to keep the hands pointing at the right season. And what's absolutely incredible here is how completely disconnected ancient cultures somehow arrived at highly complex yet amazingly similar mathematical solutions. Look at this. The Babylonians developed the Metonic cycle, where they added exactly 7 intercalary months over a 19-year period. The ancient Hebrews? They added a double Adar, basically a 13th month, to make sure the festival of Passover always hit in the spring. And over in Gaul, the Celts used this massive bronze tablet known as the Collinear calendar, inserting an extra month every 2.5 years. They all recognized this cosmic drift, and they all patched it with some seriously heavy math. And as a wildly surprising historical side note, this problem isn't just ancient history. Even modern business giants had to wrestle with calendar drift. The uneven months of our Gregorian calendar made accounting a total nightmare for George Eastman, the founder of Kodak. So get this. From 1928 all the way to 1989, he literally forced his global company to operate internally on the International Fixed Calendar. It was this super rigid system of 13 equal 28-day months, complete with a brand new summer month they called Sol. They basically abandoned the moon entirely, all for the sake of mathematical corporate perfection. Which brings us to section 3, inventing the zodiac. Now, doing all this incredibly difficult calendar math to track the moon and the sun, that is exactly what inadvertently created modern astrology. See, Babylonian astronomer priests originally observed 18 uneven constellations along the ecliptic. That's just the path the sun takes across the sky. But here's the thing, 18 uneven, jagged shapes, that is terrible for doing precise math.
So the absolutely crucial turning point here is that by 500 BCE, they refined this messy map into exactly 12 mathematically equal slices. They assigned exactly 30 degrees of the sky to each one. So the zodiac was absolutely not originally meant as a personality test. It was an ingenious, mathematically perfect coordinate system designed just to predict cosmic events like eclipses and planetary conjunctions.
Okay, shifting gears to Section 4, Egyptian star clocks.
Because while the Middle East was wrestling with the chaos of the moon, ancient Egypt decided to build a story of order over chaos. Those luna-solar calendars we talked about, they were messy. They required that awkward, shifting 13th month. The Egyptians, on the other hand, created an incredibly stable, purely solar calendar. They just used exactly 12 months of 30 days plus 5 extra days tacked on at the end of the year to reach 365. For their civil timekeeping, they virtually ignored the chaotic moon altogether. But wait, they still needed a way to tell time at night, right? So to pull this off, they used decans. These were 36 specific star groups that they used as nocturnal sidereal clocks. Because of the Earth's rotation, a brand new decan constellation would rise heliacally, which just means it popped up on the eastern horizon right before dawn, every 10 days. So they literally mapped out the entire night sky to function as one giant glowing cosmic clock.
And this perfectly illustrates how practical timekeeping actually birthed spiritual astrology. Around 2100 BCE, Egyptians literally painted these Deccan star clocks on the inside of coffin lids. They did this to track the 12 hours of the night specifically to guide the deceased souls safely through the underworld. And because of that intense spiritual connection, each Deccan eventually became personified as its own protective god. Over the centuries, they evolved from being strict timekeeping devices into these complex indicators of an individual's spiritual fate. And finally, around 50 BCE, which you can actually see in the famous Dendero zodiac, these Egyptian star gods merged beautifully with the Babylonians' mathematical 12-sign zodiac. It's like the ultimate ancient crossover event.
And that leads us to our final stop, Section 5, the shifting stars. This beautiful ancient mathematical and spiritual synthesis brings us right to the grand reveal, the part that ties directly back to your personal zodiac sign today, but with a massive cosmic twist. See, most of us in the West read tropical astrology in magazines. That system was formalized by the Greeks to tie those neat Babylonian 30-degree slices strictly to the solar seasons, spring, summer, fall, winter, meaning it's anchored to the sky exactly as it looked 3,000 years ago. Sidereal astrology, on the flip side, is closely tied to the actual physical constellations that are visibly sitting up in the sky right this very moment. And here is exactly why that difference changes absolutely everything. To quote NASA directly, when the Babylonians first invented the 12 signs of zodiac, a birthday between about July 23rd and August 22nd meant being born under the constellation Leo. Now, 3,000 years later, the sky has shifted because Earth's axis doesn't point in quite the same direction.
This is a phenomenon known as axial precession. Basically, the Earth has a wobble, kind of like a spinning top, losing its momentum. Over 3,000 years, that tiny planetary wobble has physically shifted our entire vantage point of the stars. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that the ancient celestial alignment, it's broken. Your traditional tropical zodiac sign, the one tied to the seasons, no longer aligns with the actual physical constellations in the night sky. The stars have literally moved on, meaning your traditional sign is more than likely off by an entire constellation. Which leaves us with this final, kind of mind-blowing thought. We've seen how humanity looked up, crunched the math, added intercalary months, and mapped out glowing decans just to build the ultimate cosmic clockwork. But if the physical Earth has wobbled and those ancient stars have literally shifted, what sign are you really? It might just be time to look up at the true sky and find out. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you next time.